Hey everybody, NFT fans, welcome back to the NIFTSY Podcast. I'm your host Eugene, aka Crypto MC, and I am here today with renowned Jorge Sebastiao. He's a world professional with over 30 years of experience in cybersecurity, AI, IoT, blockchain. He acts as the CEO, CDO, CISO, and board member and advisor in many projects. George, thanks for joining me today.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be here, Eugene. As you know, we have participated and conducted quite a few events in the past together, and it's always a pleasure to be with you here today as well.
Totally, yes. Our goal today is to explore all the possible use cases of NFTs, especially in DeFi. And let me start just with a question. How do you explain what is NFT, especially for non-crypto people?
Well, actually, NFTs are quite easy to explain in the sense that NFT is a digital token or a digital asset. It differs from other digital assets that we call fungible. The difference between fungible and non-fungible is that typical fungible assets are unique. So it's almost like each one of them has a serial number. And because of that uniqueness, each one will have a different value. So let's assume we have a token like, for example, a Bitcoin or an Ethereum. Whether it's Bitcoin 1 or Bitcoin 2 or Ethereum 1 or Ethereum 2, there will always be the same value. That is not the case with NFTs because each NFT is unique and it cannot be exchanged for another one from the point it is being created until the point it's exchanged or destructed, or what we call burned. So that means one NFT or another NFT of the same kind could have completely different values or different ownership. So that really means NFT becomes very useful for various kinds of applications, like applications in identification, applications in luxury goods, applications in art and music, applications in things like university degrees or diplomas. So because each one of them is unique and different from the other.
Okay, good explanation. Do you have any thoughts? Why did we have NFT hype especially in digital art space in 2020, 2021? What were its specific reasons?
Well, actually, there was two waves of NFT hype. The first wave of NFT hype was almost 3-4 years ago. There was something called crypto kitties, which were like electronic small cats that were created and had kind of a DNA, and you can create one, each one is unique, and you can breed two together to create a third unique one, and so on. And they became famous for many reasons. Once, the value of them went very high very quickly. Secondly, the CryptoKitties were created in the Ethereum platform. And at the time, the Ethereum platform had some challenges of performance. So CryptoKitties actually caused the Ethereum platform to almost crash or also the fuel or the fees for transactions became extremely expensive because of CryptoKitties. So this created the first wave of knowledge about NFTs, and they became very popular at that time. Then NFTs went quiet for about 2 or 3 years until about 1 year plus ago, when we started to create NFTs about art. One of the first such creations was when somebody took a very expensive painting and created an NFT of this painting and actually burned the original. Therefore, this was the only remaining true copy of this painting, and therefore this NFT became very valuable. Some of the NFTs traded as high as 20 or even 30, $40 million. Okay, not every NFT, of course, has got such a value, but this kind of actions and a mix between art and NFT, and when I say art, I'm talking digital art. So this could be paintings, this could be animations, this could be 3D objects. So this created a new wave of big interest in NFTs. Since then, of course, NFTs have also become popular in things like music as well. We have even some artists like Amrita in Dubai that have created a mix of two types of art. Art that combines both music as well as digital arts. So it's kind of a half painting, half music combined together. And again, this is also continued to be extremely popular. Now, one of the things that is becoming part of this is the point of creating marketplaces and virtual spaces in which these NFTs can be showcased, so they can be viewed, they can be appraised, they can be bought, they can be sold. So I think we're just at the beginning of the NFT craze. I think there's still a lot of work that remains ahead of us, and the potential for future growth is extremely high as we move forward.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But I have a strong thinking that NFTs are usable with DeFi services. Is that true? Are they really usable with DeFi? And if yes, what are the possible use cases of NFTs in DeFi? Let's say lending, using as a collateral, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, well, first, NFTs are no different than any other digital tokens. So therefore, they have a unique idea associated with them. They're based on a blockchain. Blockchain could be Ethereum, could be Binance Smart Chain, or the ones that actually support the creation of NFTs. Not all blockchains support their creation. The second thing is that NFTs also have behind them a smart contract. So this smart contract will interact with the DeFi smart contract. So that really means that once you create, for example, a piece of art, and this could be a painting, for example, a digital painting, you could be lending the usage of this painting to a business. This kind of lending already exists in the physical world today. So for example, let's just say you are the headquarters of a very famous corporation, let's say, for example, Xerox. So in your lobby of the reception or lobby of this corporation, people or corporations will hire, or they take a loan of very valuable art to showcase to people that visit their headquarters. So here in the context of DeFi, we can actually do this same thing. So the only difference is that instead of being in the physical world, we're actually doing this in the metaverse, or the digital or the 3D world that represents these same organizations or these same corporations. This is the case of lending. The second case is to use it as a collateral. Collateral means that you stake this asset or the value of this asset for a period of time. This period of time could be 1 minute, could be 1 day, 1 year, or even more. And during the using of this asset as a collateral, that means the value or a percentage of the value of this asset could then be borrowed or use it for other investment or other purposes. So that really means that the asset actually adds collateralization purposes for the function that is being performed. Today, when we talk about DeFi, DeFi is nothing more than a modern virtual bank, or the functionality that we typically see in banks that don't have offices. So these are banks, or sometimes also called neo or virtual banks. So the same kind of functions that are provided in those institutions can be provided through an NFT assets. At the end of the day, an NFT is just another form of a digital asset. Another important aspect about NFTs is there is actually two standards for NFTs. One standard is where NFT is single and unique. The second one is where the NFT can actually be broken down into several sub-NFTs. So for example, you'll have 100 segments of that NFT, which is the equivalent of basically having a partial ownership or fractional ownership of that asset. So in that context, you could have ownership of the full NFT or a percentage ownership of that NFT. So that gives also the capability to have market entry into NFT for people that are investing smaller funds. So for example, if the NFT is worth, let's say, $1 million, you could start by investing, for example, $1,000 rather than $1 million. So it will be a percentage of the total value of that NFT.
Cool, good explanation. Thank you very much for this clarifying. And another question arises, another big part of industry are DAOs, or decentralized autonomous organizations. Are NFTs connectable with DAOs, and how specifically they may be connected with DAOs?
Okay, DAO stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. So actually, there's two terms that are extremely important in the context of blockchain. One would be DAOs, and the other one would be dApps, or decentralized apps. So in the context of DAOs is where we create functional responsibilities for an organization. So NFTs can obviously be part of that because they have a value associated with them. So one example of such a use case would be where an NFT will provide voting rights in the context of a DAO. What do I mean by that? It's the same context that you have in a corporation. So depending on the value of the shares that you own, or the quantity of the shares that you own, you would have a different number of voting rights. So that means the people either with the more NFTs or the most valuable NFTs will have the capability of shaping the directions and the decisions that are being made in a decentralized organization. So the combination and the usage of those is very powerful. Now, how does that differ from traditional tokens? In traditional token, one token, one vote. In the case of usage of NFTs, which would have different value over time, the value of the voting would be based on the current estimated value of that NFT. So that means if one NFT is more valuable than the other, in the context of the DAO, those who own more valuable NFTs will actually have more powerful voting rights. One of the things that is important, as I mentioned, is also dApps, or decentralized apps. So the way we want to interact with those digital assets, such as NFTs, is through also a decentralized applications. These decentralized applications could run inside a browser, or they could run inside a mobile app. So this gives us decentralized access in a friendly way to the usability of this asset as well.
Cool. I love that explanation. Very clear, very clear. George, how do you see the main pains and problems of the current NFT markets?
Well, the current NFT markets have got many challenges associated with them. One of them would definitely be liquidity. This liquidity issue applies not just to NFTs, but to traditional tokens as well. The second issue, I would say, is in interoperability. Everybody is creating their own blockchain. Everybody is creating their own version of NFTs. And we need to have more common standards so that we have better interoperability from one environment or one marketplace to the other. The third thing that I think is also a challenge that needs to be addressed is to create more modern platforms to be able to consume or use the NFTs. Let me give you an example. Let's assume that the NFT that you're creating is a music NFT, and behind this music NFT, there's a smart contract which states that every time that music or that NFT gets played, the original author of that NFT gets paid a small amount, let's say $1 for each time that music gets played. Today, if you go on YouTube, such application does not understand how to interact with musical NFTs. So what we need to do is to create a whole new series of applications and marketplaces that interact directly with the smart contract of the NFT. And as these new marketplaces and consumption applications get created, then the acceptance and the value creation of the NFTs will expand much further as we move forward.
Okay, thanks especially for explaining the problems of interoperability was my question too. Finally, George, how do you see the future of NFTs, let's say in 3 upcoming years?
Well, I see the future for NFTs overall to be extremely bright. And the reason why it is extremely bright is because we're still in the early curves of adoption. So you can say whether it was crypto kitties, whether it was painting, art NFTs, or musical NFTs, the early applications are still experimental, and a very small fraction of the population has actually got involved in such type of usability or such type of investments or such type of trading. So as the applications become more mature, as the marketplaces become more usable and more friendly, as the metaverse applications or the 3D worlds in which these NFTs will be used, will be played, will be displayed, then the value of those NFTs will obviously rise and increase over time. So I do see the future as extremely bright, but this future might take anywhere from 2 to 3 years to actually see total fruition. One example, we are doing a project for NFTs for American Indian art, and we are in the early days of creating this very usable and friendly marketplace. We're in the process of launching it, so you will actually see over a period of time, and this time may be anywhere from 6 months to 1 or 2 years until complete or better acceptance or the usage of these assets will be in the market.
Okay, but by the way, George, do you have any plans to take part in some events somewhere in the world? And if yes, where people can meet you offline in Dubai, for example, or other cities in the world?
Actually, that's a very good point. We have actually very interesting events coming up. One of the things that is going to happen the last 1 or 2 weeks of September and the entire month of October, we'll see about 20 events or more in blockchain, in crypto, NFTs in Dubai. I'm personally helping organize one of those events known as Golf Blockchain Week, but this is not the only event. There's many other happening at the same time. There's, for example, Future Blockchain Summit, which is organized by Dubai World Trade Center and is being organized at the same time as GITEX, which is a very large IT exhibition. So we will see over 20 events during that period of time. So I definitely invite everybody who enjoys the safety and the friendliness and the accommodation and the quality of service that you get in Dubai to come for the last 2 weeks of.
Got it. Thank you very much. I really love to talk to you because your explanation are so clear. They see they show that you have a huge experience in the industry and may explain things, difficult things, very simple. It's been a fantastic pleasure to talk to you, George. Ladies and gentlemen, you were watching the NIFTSY Podcast. It is supported by the NIFTSY protocol. Please like, share, comment, subscribe on the channel, and hit the bell button for not missing the future episodes. We are publishing daily. Feel free to visit all events mentioned by George to find him and to meet him, to talk to him personally. He's a great person. Jorge Sebastiao and Eugene, aka Crypto MC, were with you. Thank you for watching and listening. Sorry for sound and video difficulties. See you in the next episodes. Bye-bye.